Happy Friday, everyone. I'm Nuria.
And I'm Frank.
And welcome to another episode of ITT Podcast, which stands for In This Together Podcast. Our podcast is our honest take on relationships, love, and marriage, with the aim of sharing our views and experiences for you to take from it whatever you need.
So whether you're single, dating, in a relationship, or happily married, there is something in it for you.
Hi everyone. Today's episode is called Being in This Together, and it's our 10-year anniversary episode. This episode is going to be all about how we stay in this relationship together, what we do in our relationship. We're going to talk a bit about how we met, how long we've known each other. We'll give a bit more of a summary of our relationship than we did in our intro chat, and we'll answer a few basic questions about our relationship and how we've kind of navigated our way through life. So first of all, happy anniversary, Frank.
Happy anniversary, Nuria.
Thank you. Cool. So this is our 10th episode. Can you believe we've gotten to number 10?
I know.
My goodness. When we started this, the plan was to start it when we started it, so that when we get to this day, on our 10th anniversary, we'll be releasing our 10th episode.
Yeah.
So that kind of...
And it's worked out well.
Yeah. So it's quite exciting to actually be here on the 10th episode.
So how should we kick this off?
Okay, so, the things we want to cover, a bit about our relationship. So in our first Getting to Know Us episode, we talked a bit about our relationship and stuff like that. But I don't think we covered our relationship in detail. We've just kind of you've probably been finding out a bit about us as it's gone along, but we haven't really gone into detail about it, shall I say. So we'll talk a bit about how we met, how long we've known each other. We'll give a summary of our relationship a bit more. And then we'll do the questions that give a bit more information about how we actually think we've reached 10 years. What we think has made us kind of...
what we've done.
Okay, so let's do how long we've known each other. If you've been listening to our podcast, you'll know that we've been together for 19 years in October, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, October will be 19 years.
So October 2023.
Yeah, and we've been married for 10 years. How did we meet?
Yeah, how did we meet, Nuria? Tell me.
You want me to say it?
Yeah.
I think we've said it, no?
I think it'll be sweet if it comes from you.
Oh, weird. Okay, so we met online. I think we have said this. We met because Frank messaged me on a site called FacePic. He's just like the cringiest face. He's like, eek. This is what happens when you have a podcast and you got to put your business out there.
Yeah, go on.
But we put out there what we're comfortable putting out there. So I think we're not ashamed to say we're a 21st century couple. We met on the internet, but this was before the internet became what it is today, which is...
the devil.
No, stop it.
Sorry.
Which is like
the internet,
social media.
The internet was innocent back then.
Yeah.
Before it had its horns and
oh god, I can't with you.
Yeah.
This is when the internet was just basic. There was no social media, no Instagram. All there was MySpace,
Facebook, and Black Chat, and whatever. If you know that era,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you know that era, you know that era.
Yeah.
It was very innocent. It was only the youth that were meeting each other on the internet. Yeah, there was no adults. We were adults, but there was no like older people weren't meeting on the internet. There was no Match.com. There was no Bumble. There was no Tinder. There was no swipe left, swipe right. It was just people on the internet just kind of innocently getting to know each other the same way they would if they met each other on the street, really.
Yeah.
And you're kind of stuck with your area. So you would find that you would search for people in London. You wouldn't really... We weren't as open, were we, for like people all around the world and stuff like that?
Yeah, all around the country and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like that.
Well, I'm sure you boys were moving to girls all around the country.
No, we weren't. We were not country boys. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
No.
Yeah, so just to give an overview, we were both at uni, at different unis, which we said before. We were both on Facebook, being Londoners. Yeah. We had Facebook accounts. I had a picture of my first year at uni. I was like smiling, happy. Frank stumbled across it.
And I thought to myself, buff thing.
Okay.
Buff,
Do the kids
buff
even
thing.
use the word buff?
Peng. What is it? Peng ting. What do they use now?
Oh no, a snack.
Snack.
I don't know.
Snack ting. Lunch ting.
Stop it. No, stop.
Fried dodo. You know, I thought she
plantain.
was fried plantain. She was, that's my gorgeous meat pie. So I thought, we must message her. So I messaged her.
He messaged me, I like your smile. Literally.
That was it. That was the first line.
Yeah, that was so standard. That was a nice innocent message. I was like, thank you.
That was it. 19 years later. And 2 kids.
Oh God.
That's what started it off, you know. I like your smile.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Having a good smile is important.
Having a good smile is very important. That's why.
Smile on the internet.
Always smile, people.
Right. Well, I am a smiler though. I love pictures, so I'm always smiling if I take a picture. But yeah, so you messaged me that. We do need to point out, because in today's day and age, people meeting on the internet, they tend to have quite a long internet relationship, right? I've heard of people being on the internet having not met each other in person yet for like months, and they just have an internet relationship, which is exciting, but it's that was not the case with us.
No, I think with us it was just a case of you meet someone and the next thing is, when can I see you?
Yeah, that's how it was back then.
Yeah.
Like, you messaged me, I like your smile. I responded, thanks. Then you asked me some questions about myself, asked you questions about yourself. We're both at uni. We were both around the same age. We're both Londoners. So it was like we met in person, but we were online. Yeah. And so at that time as well, people didn't have laptops the way they do now. We sound so old. Or phones. Like there was
There's no internet phones
on your phone. Yeah, there was no internet on your phone. You had to go to the internet cafe, or you had to have a laptop. And I was in my first year of uni, but I did not have a laptop. I bought a laptop after that interaction. So I used to go to do you remember the student union laptop room, computer room. We used to go to the computer room at uni to actually log in and go on the internet. This is gonna make us sound old, but I love it. This was like innocent times.
I know.
And Frank used to go. Where did you used to go?
Internet cafe, yeah.
Internet cafe.
Shout out to Francis.
Who's Francis?
The internet owner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The internet cafe owner. Yeah,
so I used to try to log in to catch you online and whatnot. Yeah, that's before we exchanged numbers.
Yeah, so Frank
we would
log
tell
in.
each other when is the next
Did
time
we
we're going to be
say
online.
that?
Yeah, we did that for about a week or two.
No, we exchanged numbers in the first.
No,
was it 2 weeks?
It was
Dang,
2 weeks. I
really don't know.
Your memory is a bit questionable. Yeah, it was 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks because after when I messaged you,
maybe
and
you're right.
you responded. It was a few days. Yeah, you responded.
No, it was the next day, but it was just different times. We kept catching each other at different times.
That's what I'm saying. That's why we then agreed when we need to speak to each other online. And then move from there to telephone number exchanges and stuff. So.
Because it was hard. Like I would message Frank in the evening because I obviously had lectures and stuff like that, and so I would only go to the computer room and log into Facebook in the evening.
Yeah, true.
And Frank would message me in the daytime because you hadn't moved onto campus yet. You were waiting to move onto campus. Yeah. So you were literally in between going from home to uni until you actually got your place on campus. I think you were waiting. And so he would message me more in the daytime. I wouldn't message him until the evening. And then I'll be like, oh, he's not online.
Yeah, so basically we kept on missing each other. Really. Yeah. Then we then exchanged numbers in the second week. Yeah. So we exchanged numbers in the second week, and the rest is history. Basically.
That just became a normal type of...
Yeah.
I think we exchanged numbers and then we met a week after exchanging numbers. I think we spoke for a week on the phone and we met up like on the weekend.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So
that's probably where I get the week from.
Sometimes when you're speaking to someone, so much, it feels like you've been speaking for weeks. It may just been a couple of days before we met up. It may be like a 2-day, 3-day chat.
No, it was longer than that. Because I remember I used to go to the Intercaf like, he messaged me.
No, I'm talking about after we exchanged numbers. After we've exchanged numbers, it feels like we spoke for quite a long time.
No, I think, we spoke for like 3-4 days.
Yeah, and then that's it.
I think we spoke.
Anyways, we're giving too much information. The rest is history. The rest is history.
So a summary. So that's how long we've known each other. That's how long we've been together. That's how we met.
Mm-hmm.
We were together throughout our years at uni.
Mm-hmm.
And then after uni, we basically just carried on dating, both being in London for a while. Until we got engaged. And we got engaged about 8 years into our relationship.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Which sounds like a long time, but when you factor in that I was 18 when I met Frank, you know, we literally were young anyway. So the early part of our relationship was us growing into adulthood.
True.
True. And 3 or 4 of it was literally spent while we were both at uni as well. So
yeah, so there was a lot of getting to know each other.
Yeah, we had a long
long
courtship.
It is, and I think it's important.
I love it. Yeah,
but I'm not sure that's what happens these days.
I know, and I think sometimes it can't happen that way these days, because sometimes people are meeting people when they're already grown, so they wouldn't be waiting for 4 years to get engaged. And so we got married after 8 years, and then we had our son the year after. 2 years after that, in 2016, we had our daughter, and that's it.
It's we'll get to the whole what we do to keep things ticking. But when we talk about the milestones that we've been together, that we've achieved together.
Achieved together.
Yeah, it's hard to just look back at them when you have an argument or when you fall out and then just ignore all of that. I think it creates a stronger bond between the both of us, and there's so much that we can just sit down and just talk about.
We've been together a long time, but you know, what do we say to people who haven't got all of that history?
Build the history together. Do things together. I think the key thing is try and achieve things together. I know there might be relationships or marriages where you still feel like you're doing your individual things,
which is good.
It's a good thing, but try and create that milestone together. Because it creates the bond.
Yeah, you need experiences
together.
And that's what this episode is about. I mean, it's called Being in This Together. How are we in this together in our relationship? That's like a big thing for us, to make sure that we're always in it together. I think it's very easy for people to kind of coexist in a relationship. And we've spoken about people kind of stumbling into a relationship, so to speak. And it's really important not to do that. It's important to be intentional about the fact that you're together, you're in it together, you're there to support each other,
very important.
To celebrate each other, to listen to each other and cry together, etc. To celebrate each other and just like be there for each other. So I think that's why our podcast is called that, because it's a big thing for us. It's what we really,
it's the biggest thing
we stand on.
It's the biggest thing for us, being in it together, like, because it's what we are. Like, we do everything together,
even though we're very solo people as well, and we'll get into that. But we do things as a team, even when we're solo. All right, so we're going to answer a few questions about our relationship and how we stay in this together in our relationship. So the first one is, what are some of the key things we do in our marriage that we think make it last? So what are the things that we do in our marriage that make it unique? And there's quite a few things, I think, that, there's like a specific way that I would say we run our marriage. And I think we've mentioned it a bit in the past. It's like we run our marriage almost like, if you think of being at work, being in a good team.
Company. A company. That's our marriage is a company.
It's a contract. It's a business arrangement, right?
It's a company, mate. You have to do whatever it takes to keep that company afloat. That's how you're just gonna see it. Do whatever it takes.
That's true, man. It's our livelihood.
It's a livelihood. Things like, date nights.
Yeah, we do run it like a company because we do review a lot. I think we do a lot of reviews. We set aside time intentionally. We schedule time. So let's talk about some of those things. So I would say there's a few things that we'll talk about. So date nights, solo days, movie nights and game nights, week ahead catch-ups, couples time, and marriage agreement. Now, I feel like there's other stuff.
It probably is.
But these are the main things, I think, because the date nights have a real structure to them as well, which we're going to touch on. And so do the couples time and the week ahead catch-ups. So firstly, one of the biggest things we do is date nights. That is I think that's like really key to our approach to our relationship and what keeps us really in it together, and how we we try to make sure we remember that we're a couple. So we have kids, yes, we're a family of 4 and we've got bills to pay and all of that stuff, but we're a couple and we're still in a relationship, and our date nights help us remember that. So we do our date nights on a monthly basis. It tends to be the first weekend of the month. And we use that date night to review the last month. So let's say it's February, we're going to talk about what happened in January. And that really helps because it means that we basically cover things that happened the month before without it kind of dragging on. So if we've had a real difficult month, or we've had a lot of arguments, it will definitely come up in the next month's date night. And it means that we will talk about that. And it's a safe space. Like, we go on a date, we actually go out to eat. We try not to do movies on date nights, but if we do go to the movies sometimes, which we do, we will always end the night with a restaurant meal. Because we need to sit down.
Time to discuss. I think the date night really, I think since we've been doing the date night, which we've been doing for quite a while now, I think it has improved our marriage. It's
How many years have we been doing it? I think we weren't consistent in the beginning, and then we got really consistent. I think we've been consistent for about 5 years.
I think just over 5 years.
Over 5 years, because before Ellie was born.
I think we've been,
we've been consistent a bit longer.
We saw the benefits of it, and then
so date night is really once a month. We get dressed up. We either have the kids with Frank's mum or my mum. We go out to a restaurant or we go to a movie, but we always end up in a restaurant, and we basically eat and talk. The whole point of the date is to actually talk about the month before, and we don't just talk about what's happened. We kind of have a structure of what we discuss. So we talk about, firstly, what went really well. So it gives you a chance to praise your partner. So what went really well in the relationship that month, and it's really focused on the relationship, how we've been feeling that month. As well, we also talk about what hasn't gone well and what we think like our partner could do better, or how they can help, with what we think didn't go well. And sometimes we use it as well to self-analyze, isn't it? Sometimes I'll be like, I don't think I've been, I've been kind of snappy at you this month, and this is why. Or so sometimes it just gives us some time to really talk about that.
Sometimes we do talk about the kids as well. There are times where we do. Where we brought up the kids and discuss
what's going on
with the kids, even discuss different approach to managing the kids and whatnot. So it's important. It's like our space to discuss those things and
things that are really about me and you and how we want to deal with our relationship. And our kids are obviously a big part of our marriage. So date nights happen monthly. Every quarter, that date night is like a quarterly review as well as the monthly review. That is usually when we do our quarterly review and we talk about what's been happening, and we also plan for the next quarter. And then at the end of the year, we do our yearly reviews. So the last date night of the year is usually the one where we review the whole year and we plan what we want to achieve, what we want to do for the following year. So the date nights are monthly and they're just consistent, but it's just every quarter they take a different turn where we go away for the weekend. And the last date night of the year is the one where we review the year. And when we review the year, we touch on a number of things. So if you were thinking about what could we discuss in the yearly review to cover the year, some ideas, some of the things we discuss is what we want to achieve the upcoming year. And we look specifically at our finances, what's happening with us in terms of our careers and work, the kids, us as a family, our health, friends and close family, and our faith. So some of the things we touch on in the yearly review, and also looking over the last year, what we've actually achieved that we're really proud of.
It's also a good time to celebrate the wins, the milestones that we've had.
The achievements.
Yeah.
So that's date nights. We also have something called solo days in a month. So I kind of go either to a spa by myself. I'm not really meeting up with anybody, or go to the movies by myself because I like to go out for my solo days. Frank likes to stay home if you've been listening to us, you know that Frank likes to stay home. So because Frank likes to stay home, Frank's solo days is me taking the kids.
And get the hell out of here, man. You know what I'm saying?
Get out of
here, man.
Yeah, so Frank has his day where it's literally I take the kids either to my auntie, shout out to Auntie Angela, or I take them to my sister, shout out to Ottilia, or I take them to my mom, or shout out to the grandmas.
Shout out to
mumsies. Yeah, but basically or sometimes I just take them out so Frank can have his solo days. And
that's really important.
Yeah.
Solo days are very important. It's a chance to recharge your batteries. Yeah. I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's helped our relationship a lot as well, because it gives you that time. Okay, so another thing we do is movie nights and game nights with the kids. Game nights with the kids does not happen all the time, but one of the 4 weekends is family weekend, and that is where we stay in the house with the kids as a family. Or if we do go out, we will go out as a family, like we'll go out for family dinner, or we'll go out and do something as a family. And normally that weekend is also where we try and do game nights and play board games, or we'll watch a movie together specifically. Yeah. We have a lot of movie nights as a family. We do that all the time, and we have movie nights just the two of us. We also do our week ahead catch-ups on a Sunday,
which is really important.
Yeah. Every Sunday, since we work, we look at our diaries. We talk about what's happening in the week. If we've got a party to go to for the kids, or someone's birthday's coming up in our family. So we always do our Sunday week ahead catch-ups, and that is really good as well, because it lets us know what we're going to need from each other. Yeah,
it allows me to know what's happening with you for that week in terms of like your workload. It's another angle to that. So if you've got a busy week ahead, I'll be aware of that, so I know what you're going to need from me that week. Yeah, not to give me a hard time if I haven't cooked. Not to give you a hard time, if you haven't cooked, and not to stress you out, because I know that that's a busy week. So I know how I need to structure my week if my week isn't as busy as yours. So we basically just look at each other's diary and see what we have and talk about it. And, and we also use to review if the kids have got, as you said already, school parties, school plays, parents' evening. All that kind of stuff. So it's the week ahead is really important. Yeah. It's a good form of like communication for our marriage. And we have couple time as well, 2 hours on a Monday, and we put this in place because we felt like, which is crazy because we have monthly date nights. I know, but it's never enough. It's never enough. Hey, she wants more. Oh, Frank, are you telling me you don't like our couples time on a Monday? I love it. For 2 hours. I love it, babe. I do like it. Yeah, I do like it. No, it's couples time. It's important because it's every Monday. I think it's between 8 and 10, and it just allows us to just stop everything that we're doing and just kind of get together. And then sometimes you pick something for us to watch, or we just sit there and we just talk. Yeah, and no phones allowed. No phones allowed. Yeah, we literally sit in the living room with our feet up. Sometimes we will be on our just put some lo-fi beats and stuff. Oh yeah, we'll just put some chill music and we just chill for 2 hours. Yeah. It gives us a chance to talk during the week as well. Yeah. But it's very much just couple time. It's literally just chilling. Maybe just lying on each other and just listening to music, Yeah, just lying, not doing anything else. Please do not insinuate that couple time on a Monday is anything other than us just chilling in the living room together. Okay, Frank, stop pretending. Chill time, you know what I'm saying? No, it's not that. That's not what it is. And then we have we've spoken in the past about our marriage agreement, which if you haven't listened to that, I think we don't even know which episode that was, but I think it's the one about marriage. I think it was the one about is marriage worth it or something like that. Yeah. Maybe. But basically we drafted up a marriage agreement when we got married during our honeymoon, where we just set out what we expect of each other, and we review that, and we're due to review it. We won't review it today, we'll probably review it tomorrow. For our 10-year for our 10-year anniversary, we try and review that every few years. We'll do it this weekend. Yeah, this weekend. Yeah. And that's another good thing because it helps set out what you expect from your husband or what you expect from your wife. Yeah. And it's important. And sometimes it's a good reminder as well, because there are things that when you look at your marriage agreement, you be like, oh boy, I agreed to do that. I haven't been doing that.
I'm not meeting my expectations.
It does give you a chance to,
yeah. It's really helpful, and that helps with clarity in our marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, another thing that we do, which relates a lot more to us dealing with the kids, is what we call swapsies.
Mm-hmm. Swapsies is very, very important.
I'm sure lots of married people with kids do this, but
it's vital.
It's absolutely vital. I don't even know. I think we might have been divorced if it wasn't for swapsie.
Yeah, we need swapsie.
You explain swapsies, right?
Swapsie. Can I really explain swapsies?
Yes, you can. It's simple. It's straightforward. What do we do?
We literally, because obviously, as you know, I'm the early bird.
Mm-hmm.
So I get up in the morning. It gives Nora the opportunity to lie in and have a good rest. So I'm with the kids. I do the usual things with the kids, breakfast and schoolwork, reading, whatever. And then when you're done getting your sweet sleep and your rest and all of beauty sleep, you then come downstairs and then we then have a swap. So basically, you could do 2 or 3 swaps per day, especially days that we're at home with the kids throughout the whole day or throughout the whole weekend. Yeah, it just gives us a break from the kids.
Yeah, even if it's my solo day or it's my social day, should I say more so? We will still do our swapsies. So I will still wake up on the weekend and I would stay upstairs for about 2 hours, get ready, get dressed and everything. And then I'll come down and then Frank will go upstairs for like 4 hours. He'll go back to sleep because he loves to go back to sleep. I don't know why he goes to sleep to begin with, but he'll go back to sleep and then he'll just chill upstairs by himself for a while. So that it literally means I get like 2 hours in the morning from when I wake up where I just don't have to deal with the kids. I can just do things that I want to do or just like chill.
It's really important.
2 or 3 hours
it's really
after
important.
waking up, after your nap.
Yeah, because before that we used to just be with the kids. Yeah, we're literally with the kids like from morning till
both of us. Yeah, and it gets both in the same room for hours.
Chaotic, like it was crazy. So implemented swapsies and has I think lockdown. Yeah, lockdown is what started swapsies. Allowed us to implement swapsies, and it's been great. It's been fantastic.
Yeah. And then because it's only a few hours each, we just chilled together as a family after that
because we both had our rests. And
we're fine. Yeah. And then sometimes we do a different form of swapsies where we each take a child to a different room.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll play with Ellie in her room. Frank will watch TV with Guav, or Frank will play in Guav's room with him, and I'll be downstairs with Ellie. So sometimes if we've had our swaps and stuff like that, but they get a bit chaotic together sometimes, a bit hyperactive sometimes together. So we literally swap them out and we each kind of take one child.
And also as well, we've also implemented technology-free time. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. We're getting into family stuff that we do.
I know.
But
which does help the marriage, help the relationship.
Yeah. Technology-free time. Do you want to explain that?
Technology-free time is it's what we've implemented from about 2:00 till about 5-6
p.m.
Where the kids, no TV, no iPads, they're just in their rooms. They want to get a nap, if they want to play with their toys, if they want to read.
Bobby does a lot of reading during that time, and me and Frank would then also
use that time to just relax. Basically
technology free, no TV, sometimes
nothing. We'll
just go to our room and just chill. And so
it does Netflix and chill. I know.
But the kids they go to their rooms and they just chill for 2 hours. And another thing we do as a family, and this goes into family stuff, but we do meditation together as well, which is really helpful as well.
Really helpful, and the kids have gotten into it as well now.
And that's been going for a while now. We literally just sit for like 10-15 minutes in the evening. We put on those like really chilled meditation music in the living room. We can just relax. The kids know about meditation because of school anyway, so it just kind of calms everybody down, and we do that as a family. And then we end it with affirmations. So we say some affirmations and the kids repeat, and
Yeah.
That's been really, really helpful as well.
It has been.
And don't forget our family prayers before they go to sleep. Those are other things as well that we do that keeps us really in it together as a family.
Mm-hmm. Very, very important.
Yeah, and we pray ourselves. We say our own prayer as well. Outside of the kids. After the prayer with the kids and they're in sleep, when we go to bed, we do our prayers as well. And that keeps us grounded as a couple. So that's all the stuff that we do. We think those things make a big difference.
They do. They really do.
And it's kind of how we run our marriage.
Like I said before, like a company.
Yeah. Trying to keep it successful, trying to make sure each person feels recognized, appreciated, plays their role, helps each other. Yeah, that's right. So all of that stuff is super, super important to us. So the next question we wanted to touch on is, how do we handle conflict in our marriage?
That's a good question.
Yeah. What would you say? How did we used to handle conflict in our marriage?
We used to argue.
Yeah.
That's how we used to be. Used to be like, no, we're gonna have it out yet. But now it's a much calmer, calmer. If there is a big conflict, right, I think there is always an opportunity to discuss it.
Yeah.
Like even date night, couples time, week ahead catch ups. There's always an opportunity
to talk
about it. So most of the time we don't have it, like, because we're regularly updating each other, regularly discussing things. So there's hardly any conflict. Those are easily resolved.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the past we definitely used to argue a lot more because we were just not trying to be on the same page.
There was no structure in place.
There's no structure. A lot of these things we're talking about, date nights, solo days, movie nights, couples time, those things have put structure in our relationship, and it's actually prevented a lot of arguments.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the arguments was due to feeling stressed, overwhelmed, unappreciated, or especially when we had kids.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of this stuff has kind of curbed that. And now when we really disagree on stuff, like you said, we discuss it in some of those structured times.
Yeah.
And also another thing about how we handle conflict in our marriage, we used to be very much about trying to win an argument, trying to get your point across, who's right and who's wrong. And I think we definitely kind of stopped all that. We don't do that anymore. I mean, if we're arguing, it's not really about who's right or who's wrong. We appreciate that both of us are wrong. Yeah, we are technically, but we appreciate what I meant is we appreciate that both of us are right in our own heads.
Yeah.
And both of us are technically wrong to the other person. So there's no point trying to convince the other person that you're right. We try to understand where the other person is coming from. And as long as I can understand where Frank is coming from and he can understand where I'm coming from,
we always find a middle ground.
Yeah, the conflict is technically resolved because it's about understanding first.
And I think that's one of the things that has improved in our relationship, in our marriage, is wherever you're coming from, wherever I'm coming from, whatever we're trying to put across, we always find a middle ground.
Yeah.
It's always a case of like, okay, we may not necessarily find a middle ground on that day, but I think we do go away and then, ponder on what you're saying and what I'm saying, and then say, okay, what if we did this?
Yeah.
Or what if we did that?
Yeah.
So I think we do listen to each other.
Yeah, we listen a lot. And we also try to avoid upsetting each other. Yeah. So it's not about hurting Frank's feelings. If I've done something to hurt his feelings, I address that straight away. And he does the same. Whereas in the past, we didn't used to focus on hurt feelings.
No.
But the hurt feelings are a big deal in a relationship, and it's a lot of the times a reason why someone would eventually just end a relationship, because their feelings are always getting hurt and they feel like the other person doesn't care. I would say that Frank recognizes that I'm someone that can be quite emotional. I can easily get upset, but I can also easily get over it and forgive.
True.
And so because of that, in the past, I don't think he liked the fact that I could get upset very easily. And that he used to kind of resent me for getting upset about things that he felt like I shouldn't be getting upset about. But after a number of years of working through that, we've come to realize, well, I would say Frank's come to realize that it doesn't really matter why I'm upset about something. It just matters that I'm upset. And the same with him is that I don't need to figure out or get him to justify why he doesn't like something or why he's upset. I just need to change what I'm doing to make sure that I don't, cause that conflict. Okay, so how do we balance individual needs and wants with the needs of the marriage? He's looking at me like this is an exam question.
This is
Discuss. Explain and discuss.
This is PhD question. How do we
individual needs and wants for the needs of the marriage?
I think how do we balance it? I think it goes back to all the stuff that we've listed before. You know, you getting your solo days and I get my solo days. Those are some of our needs. Having that rest, having some time to myself. I think the structure, it goes back to structure again.
Yeah.
That we've put in place. That brings a lot of balance.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're not always in each other's face.
Yeah.
We give ourselves space.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we also balance it by listening to each other. I might have my individual needs, but what's priority to me is the marriage. And not to say that my individual needs don't matter or they can't be met, like you're saying. But to me, I know that in my marriage, I'm happy and I'm in a secure marriage. And I know that Frank wants me to be happy. So if I need something or I want to do something, I know that I can bring it into my marriage and we can talk about it and, we'll find a way.
Yeah.
I don't think it's weird. It's weird to answer this question because I don't think we struggle to balance individual needs because we recognize that we're individuals in a relationship.
Yeah.
And this is why we're always talking about being in it together because we try to work like a team. So our individual needs are the needs of the marriage in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, what could we really need to do for the marriage that might be contrary to what I need to do as an individual?
Yeah,
I don't think there is anything because we're so balanced.
We're quite aligned with what we need to.
Yeah, we prioritize our marriage. Like how some people might want to travel, but it's not the right time to travel. My marriage will come first. Our family will come first. So if I know that if I went away right now, it'll put a strain on you, then I won't prioritize that going away. I just try and make sure that, I put the marriage first, I put our family first.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know that you would make sure I get what I need. So.
Yeah. I mean, we think about when you just gave birth to Ellie, you just needed to get away. Because you obviously, just giving birth, you needed some time away and stress. And then you were able to go to Vegas and stuff.
I know.
That was something that you needed and you that's what you needed at that point in time.
Yeah, and Ellie was 5 months old when I went away to Vegas with my family friend. I literally went away for 5 days and you had to take time off work.
Yeah.
To look after Ellie for 5 days.
Yeah.
But that's something that, Frank has always said that, every time I have a baby, which has only been twice, but every time I have a baby, Frank is always trying to do whatever he can to make sure that, my mood stabilizes, because it can be very depressing when you've just had a baby and your body's changed and you're in this state. I'm sure a lot of people know about postpartum depression and a lot of women get some form of it. Some women get it really bad. And Frank is always supportive and he's always trying to make sure that I can get my mind right and I can be in a good place. And that's an individual need.
Yeah.
And you do prioritize stuff like that for me but it wasn't do or die. I wasn't I'm going to Vegas whether you like it or not. So it's one of those things where I would still put my marriage first and be well, this is not the right time. But
definitely.
Then he will be no, I can do it. I can look after the baby. You go, you need this,
Yeah.
What are our different parenting styles and how do we deal with our kids? I feel like this is the episode in its own right.
And our parenting styles they're different.
But similar.
They're similar, yeah. I think they're similar.
I'm the strict parent, I would say.
Is it?
In different situations.
Yeah,
I know. I know, I can't even say that.
It's like good cop, bad cop. Sometimes I don't know which one I am. It's like, am I a good cop?
That's probably the best. Yeah, that's probably the best analogy, actually. Yeah. We're both good cop, but we're different in different scenarios.
Yeah.
So when it comes to, for example, the kids' routines, I would say I'm more strict than Frank. Because I grew up in a very strict household, I would say. And so I'm very strict when it comes to stuff like that. But then I'm very relaxed when it comes to how the kids play, making a mess. I'm not too uptight about things like that. I let the kids play and just mess up the living room. I mean, they don't trash it, but I would let them make a mess. Whereas Frank is very uptight about things like that. He wants structured play.
Because I have to clean up afterwards.
No, I don't clean up after the kids. They clean up after themselves.
Yeah, they get Daddy to do it. They'll be like, Daddy, help us. Yeah.
You should say
please.
No. Can you see how we differ? I let the kids mess up the place because everything they mess up, they'll clean it up themselves.
Yeah.
Whereas Frank would not do it because he'll be like, oh, I'm going to have to end up cleaning it up. But then watch him when it comes to them getting ready for school, and I am way more relaxed than Frank. Frank is very strict when it comes to you know, what they do in the mornings and how they do it and when they do it, and he doesn't play. And the same thing with bedtime. So I think we have a parenting style that merges well together. We always know if the other person is being strict, then the other one will be more chilled. And then
we're never just strict, like we're never just bad cop.
Stress the kids out. So how do we show appreciation for and to one another? We do. We do this a lot.
We do. Yeah, I think we do understand each other's love languages.
Yeah.
Or love language. So I think we try to play to that.
Yeah.
You know, you like your hugs and stuff.
Yeah.
I like my tea being made.
Yes, Frank likes acts of service.
Acts of service. Yeah. Whenever it makes me a good cup of tea, I know she loves me. That's all.
Oh, jeez. So, Love Languages, there's a book by Gary Chapman called The 5 Love Languages. If you haven't read that, I would recommend any couple, especially married couple, read that and try and see if you can identify your love language. There's an online quiz that you can take that will help you do that. And that is what Frank is referring to. So, Frank likes acts of service and gifts. He's a girl. No, I'm joking. Frank likes when people buy stuff and be like, oh, you're thinking of me and stuff like that. And I'm words of affirmation and touch. So I like hugs and stuff like that. And I like nice words. And kind words. So yeah, we do play on that to appreciate each other. But we also thank each other a lot for stuff. Like, we thank each other all the time for normal stuff that most people will probably say, why would I thank my husband for putting the kids to bed or getting the kids ready for school? But we thank each other every day for
we do actually.
For that kind of stuff.
We do.
You know, I'll drive out after going to drop the kids or something, and I always get a text message saying, thank you for dropping the kids this morning. Even though it's every day.
It's very important.
Yeah.
Very, very important.
We just do that. And we don't have to, but we just do it because I don't know how that started, but we literally, if I cook, Frank would be like, thank you for making dinner. Thank you for, like, we thank each other for all the things that we do, which must be crazy to some people, but it's just really normal to us.
It's become so normal now that not doing it, you just feel weird. Like, I didn't take no for taking the kids. Oh my god.
Like, thank you. Yeah, it's true. Especially like when I clean. If I clean the house, I'm definitely going to get most of the time, in-person hug. In-person kiss, like, thank you for cleaning the house. The house looks great. All the time.
It goes a long way.
Yeah.
Especially if you're someone with that your love language is touch and stuff.
Yeah, touch and words of affirmation. It's true. It does help.
Yeah, it goes a long way.
How do we handle in-laws? Yeah, so
I think we handle in-laws very well. I think I let you deal with your family and you let me deal with my family. It's as simple as that. Because you know how to deal with your family. You know I know how to deal with my family. So it's a case of I will advise you and I will step back. You will advise me and you will step back. That's how it is.
100%. Yeah, and we have really good relationship with our in-laws, both sides.
Yeah, we do.
I'm Congolese, Frank is Nigerian, so I have Nigerian in-laws and Frank has Congolese in-laws, so it's interesting.
Very interesting.
In that sense. But we've been together a really long time. So Frank's family is my family to me. Frank's sisters are my sisters. But at the same time, I recognize that they're not my sisters in the sense that when it comes to anything that needs to be kind of addressed, Frank addresses it.
Yeah.
And the same thing with my family. You know, I would deal with my family if I needed to. But we don't really have any issues that we've had to address or anything like that. But we try to respect the fact that we know our own family better.
Yeah.
And another thing that we do in terms of dealing with in-laws is we really work hard not to put each other in an awkward situation. We make a point of not doing any, well, it's me or them kind of energy.
We respect ourselves. Respect yourself and you will not put yourself in any predicament.
We don't do that.
We don't.
Because to me, Frank's family were there before I was there. His mum was there before I was there. His sisters were there before I was there.
Yeah.
He needs his family. It doesn't matter how much I love him. He needs his family. And I would never want him to like have a bad relationship with his family off the back of our relationship. And so because of that, I make sure that, you know, I nurture his relationships with his family where I can. And he does the same for me. Like, we respect our families, we respect our in-laws, and we respect ourselves.
Respect ourselves.
But yeah, we try and deal with it as a team. as with everything else. We try and remember that, we're in it together. We talk about things. If we've got any issues, we bring it up together. And we just kind of talk about these things, and
we do.
We decide how we're going to deal with it together.
I think one of the good things is we always bring things to each other.
When it comes to family,
we always like, what do you think about this? Always provide advice and stuff for us. I think, that in itself is really important. It shows that, you're in the know of what's happening. So it's never a case of something's happening with my family that you're not aware of.
So, we also we don't deal with things separately.
Secrecy.
We don't have secrets with each other in terms of our family. That's for sure.
Or for anything else.
Well, apart from the secrets you don't know about. No, I'm joking. But we literally just we don't do things family related without the other person knowing. So that's in-laws. And that's almost the end. We've only got 2 generic questions that we wanted to touch on and ask each other. The first is, what do you think, Frank, is the key to a healthy and successful marriage? And I'll ask the second one as well. What do you think is the most important thing to remember when it comes to being married? In terms of an advice for newlyweds or people who are in a marriage. Firstly, what is key to a healthy and successful marriage?
That's a really interesting one. I think the key to a healthy and successful marriage, in my opinion, is to continuously communicate with your partner. Be open with your partner. Be yourself. I know we've spoken about this in previous podcasts where we say be vulnerable. Just be yourself. I know we use the word be yourself a lot. I'm not talking about being yourself when you're in the office. Show your real... No. Actually be yourself. Let your guard down and be yourself. That's really important, because life does not start until you're actually being yourself. You're actually yourself in that space.
When you're being authentic.
When you're actually living with someone, you're married to someone, but you are not hiding anything.
Yep, you're not putting on an act.
You're not putting on an act. You're just this is you 120%. This is just you. And then that person has accepted you
as you are. That's the beautiful thing.
The beautiful thing, man. So you can't. Once you have that, then everything else just kind of falls into place. Yeah. That's what I think.
Because you give the person the chance to love the real you. And there's always so much to love. We're all unique and we're all special.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. And what do you think is the most important thing to remember when it comes to being married? So, like let's say a couple has recently been married and you're like, oh, quick.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this thing that you need to remember.
I would say the one thing that I would say it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Ding ding ding.
It's a marathon.
Top answer. Oh my god. Why am I getting so many arm kisses today?
It's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Is it because it's our anniversary?
Yes, it is. If you try to sprint, oh boy, you will not get far. It's a marathon. You run out of steam. So it's a marathon. You have to be ready to run the race. You have to be ready to run for 50 years.
Oh, stop it. Why are you scaring people? I know. You need to stretch.
You need to stretch beforehand. You need to do your warm up. And when you start running, don't go too fast. Go slow. So you can build that momentum. Pace yourself.
Yeah.
Stop for a drink or grab a drink on your way to the finish line. But
we're not even at the finish line. We're still on our marathon.
We're not. But we talk about grab a drink. I'm talking about things like date night.
Yeah.
You've got to refresh yourself. You've got to put things in place that would make your life easier, make my life easier.
Yeah, 100%.
So you've got to remember that. I think if that's one thing you can take away from this podcast is marriage is not a sprint. It's a marathon. Yeah, it's a marathon that we all have to grow while we run that marathon.
Yeah, 100%. I love that.
So what about you, Nuria?
What do I think?
What do you think is key to a healthy and successful marriage?
I think the key to a healthy and successful marriage is friendship. Yeah.
Why do you say that?
Because I think a lot of the things we talk about, being yourself, when you think about being yourself with a true friend, that comes really naturally. You don't try to put on an act with a friend. That's the whole point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, true.
When you think about who you want to call when you're sad, it's your true friend. you talk to your friend about anything. You tell them how you're feeling. You know, a friendship is something where you're just there to do for each other. When you really think about friendship, you're two people, you're like, oh, I like this person. They're a cool person. And it's just about exchange, like doing things for each other. It's just a human, natural exchange of time, affection, support, kindness. That's what a marriage should be. And that is the key to a healthy and successful marriage. You will communicate if you remember that you're supposed to be friends. You will make time for each other to have experiences and do activities. You will forgive each other because you recognize that they have their own things going on. They have other things that they're probably stressed about, or you'll support each other. So to me, the key to a healthy relationship is friendship. It's about establishing, building, maintaining that friendship, and all the other things will fall into place.
So basically you're saying your husband or your wife needs to become your best friend.
Yeah, basically. Which you love. You love that.
I'm just saying.
That is your thing.
I'm just saying.
Frank is like, so basically, we're back on that best friend too. Like, yes, your husband and wife should be your best friend. I mean, you can have a best friend who's not your husband or wife, but in the grand scheme of things,
it's not your friend, then what's going on here?
And really, for it to be a really good relationship, it should be your bestest.
Your besties. Yeah.
Your bestest. Yeah, your best friend.
So what do you think is the most important thing to remember when it comes to being married?
I really loved the whole, it's a marathon, not a sprint. I loved that. That was so cool. So I don't know if I can top that. I don't know if I got anything better than that. I think the most important thing to remember when it comes to being in a marriage is that you got married for a reason, right? So the whole point is to remember why you married that person.
True.
And this is where, if you married that person for other reasons, you better, money, or you married that person because you like the way they look. If you married them for wishy-washy, non-substance reasons, I can't help you. Problems. This doesn't apply because I don't know what to say. If you married them for their looks and they start getting ugly to you, they start aging, what happens then? I'm not saying date a broke person, but if you married them for the money and then they become broke, okay, that I don't think you're going to be happy in that marriage. So it's like, I'm not saying marry broke people, by the way, but I'm literally saying, like, marry someone for substantial reasons, because you're going to need those reasons when the relationship gets tough, right? And so I think, remember what you married them for, remember what you love about them, and because of that, work on your marriage. Try to remember that you're a team. Yeah,
that's important.
Yeah. Remember what you married them for, and remember that you're supposed to be a team. That's what you signed up for when you got married. For better or worse.
Remember why you said yes.
Yeah, I do.
Person. I do, yeah.
I think that's what you need to remember when you get married, and
that's a solid response.
Yeah. Like that. And sometimes when it gets tougher.
Yeah. It ties in with the whole marathon
thing. Yeah, it does. Do you ever sometimes think, wait, why did I marry this girl again?
Do I ever think that?
Well, you took this long to answer, so yes. You do.
I probably did, I'm not gonna lie, I probably did.
When?
I think probably the first year or so.
Yeah.
Before we got our ish together. As you're aging, you're aging with someone else. So you're aging, they're aging as well.
Yeah, and they're changing.
They're changing, and so are you. So you want different things at the same time. So what I used to know that you like or you want or the way you are, that's evolving. And so am I. So it's kind of like, going through that process with that person.
Yeah,
going through that journey, growing together. So I think, during the early parts of our marriage, it did get frustrating because we didn't have a structure that we have in place now.
Yeah, that's true.
So I was like,
But first year?
I won't say the first year, not the first year.
That's supposed to be a honeymoon, mate.
No, but no, not the first year. It was probably after we've had guava and stuff, like before we got
first year. Yeah, but I know what you mean. Yeah. Before we really sat down and figured out,
like, okay, what are we gonna do about this relationship?
How do we make this work?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do we get on the same page? I think we worked really hard to get on the same page.
Yeah, I agree.
I think sometimes people think when they get married, they'll automatically fall into line. They just kind of fall into the same page, but you don't.
Happens that way.
No, you have to make a conscious decision to get on the same page. And that sometimes means establishing what that page is.
That's true.
What page you're both going to be on first.
Mm.
And then working to both get on that page. And that sounds like a lot of nothingness, but I guess what I'm saying is you have to first establish what kind of relationship you both want.
Mm-hmm.
What are the rules for your relationship?
That's important.
What are you trying to achieve together? And that's why we have these regular
That's
reviews.
True. That's true. It will also allow you to know when priorities have changed for each other, because sometimes what was priority for you 6 months ago may no longer be priority now. So knowing that, oh yeah, by the way, I don't give a shit about that anymore. Yeah, okay, thanks for letting me know.
Thanks for the update. Yeah, it's so true. Yeah.
So yeah.
So that's it. Yeah. So your advice is super cute. No, I'm joking. Your advice is really, really good. A marriage is a marathon, not a sprint.
Mm-hmm.
And my one is remember why you married that person, and remember that you're a team.
Yeah, that's really important. You're a team. Like, you're a team. See the marriage as a business. Like, No, I know.
People dissolve businesses.
I know. It's not. No one can dissolve it. It's only you two that can dissolve the business. Yeah, so don't do it. Yeah, treat it like your life depends on it. Be a team, as Nora's already said. Work at every single thing that comes your way.
Yeah, but don't take no mess. No, I'm joking.
Obviously, don't take no mess. Never drop your standards.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Even while you're in the marriage, if you find that he or she are slipping from the standards that they both were working towards, or they were already at.
Yeah. Call them out.
Remind them.
Yeah.
Oh boy, you done this. Step down from that standard, though. Pull your trousers up and get back up to that standard now, okay?
I can't.
They'll get in line quickly.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah, don't drop your standard. What for?
Yeah, you have to still.
And you will find that when you have structure in place, everyone starts working to a higher standard.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Because you feel like you've been listened to. You feel like, okay, we're going to have a date night. You have something to look forward to. So there isn't a case of, oh, I don't even get to spend time with Frank. I don't even get to spend time with Nuri. There's a date night coming up.
Yeah.
If I need to talk to you about something, I will take the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
one more thing I wanted us to touch on, right? This is a good episode to touch on this point that seems to come up with married people sometimes, which is, should divorce be an option? Because I know some couples say, like, divorce is not an option, and, you know, divorce is not on the table, blah, 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 blah. And I don't really believe in that. But
divorce is on the table if it's a violent relationship.
Okay.
If it's a violent relationship, if it's a relationship that's full of adultery and stuff, divorce should be on the table. But sometimes you find out in certain marriages, they're not getting along. They're not on the same page. Something as simple as that.
Yeah.
No one is cheating. No one is being violent. They're just not on the same page.
Yeah.
So that can be corrected, I feel. So when you talk about, divorce is not on the table, I think if the man or the woman is being violent, divorce would be on the table.
Yeah.
In that circumstance. But I think other than that, I think you should always work at it.
Even adultery?
I said violence and adultery.
Okay, so for you, violence and adultery are the two reasons why divorce should stay on the table.
I believe so.
No violence, no adultery. You think divorce should be off the table?
It should be off the table. I think there's nothing you cannot work out. Like anything outside of those two realms and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. That's just my honest opinion. How about you?
Yeah. My opinion is similar. Obviously, violence, adultery, and not just violence, emotional abuse, psychological abuse. There's lots of ways you can abuse someone, verbally abusing someone. But abuse, shouldn't put up with that. Obviously, adultery, I don't think you should put up with that, because that can lead to children outside of marriage, and that's a whole different dynamic as well, and diseases and stuff like that. So I talk about that a lot. I'm not for that. But I also think in general, I think divorce should always be on the table, even with things that you can work through. I still feel like the notion of divorce not being on the table is one of the reasons why people don't try as much on their relationship, and then they actually end up being divorced.
Yeah.
Because they're not recognizing that a marriage needs to be worked on.
Okay. So you feel like they should be threatened with divorce?
Not threatened. I'm not saying
what you're
threatened,
saying.
but I'm saying remember that your relationship is a choice.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't grow complacent.
I agree.
And I think when I hear people say like, oh, divorce is not on the table, maybe they mean well. But to me, a marriage is a choice. You have to be in it to win it. No, I'm joking. You have to be in it intentionally.
Yeah, you have to.
I never think to myself, oh, divorce is not on the table. Because I've seen people divorce. There's loads of people that have divorced. So I know we could divorce. You know what I'm saying? I need to work at my marriage to ensure that that doesn't happen. It doesn't scare me.
True.
But I think it's always on the table. Because it allows me to keep my standards up.
Yeah, it keeps you.
It allows me to keep you in check and be like, you know, no, I'm not going to put up with certain things.
True.
Whereas if we were just like, oh, we're married now, divorce is off the table, I think we can grow very complacent, and that can lead to us growing apart.
That's true. I agree with that. That's a really, really, really strong point.
Yeah. So I just wanted to touch on that, because I think sometimes people might listen to us and think we're so pro-marriage and we're so about that life that we're one of those couples that feel like, yeah, no matter what, work through everything. And it's like, work through everything, but just recognize that, you know your limits. And know that, you know, you have to, like you said, don't drop your standards, keep your standards up. But at the same time, remember that a marriage is a choice and you have to work at it every day.
Yeah.
Don't grow complacent. Don't just take the other person for granted, because it might not be you filing for divorce, but that other person might file for divorce.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So remember that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But on a brighter note, we're excited about the next 10 years of our relationship. We've got so many plans.
Yeah, we do.
And we're just happy to be like doing this podcast as well, because it's a proper chapter in our relationship.
It is.
And it helps us to remember how far we've come as well.
Yeah. Which
can only benefit us going forward, but in a way, it can also benefit other people. So, yeah. This episode is going to be a really special one for us. And we had a great anniversary day, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Went to a spa and we just kind of went to dinner.
It was lovely.
It was.
That's it for today.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. So that's it, guys. You've been listening to our 10-year special anniversary episode. You've heard everything we've had to say about our relationship, how we stay in it together at all times, and we've answered some questions about our relationship and how we navigate through it. So hopefully you picked up a few tips along the way and enjoyed this episode. We appreciate everyone that takes the time to listen to our podcast, and we're super grateful for all your engagement with us. We really hope you tune into the next episode, where we'll be talking all about finances in marriage and in a relationship. And we both have very different approaches to finances, so you're definitely going to want to listen to that one. Don't forget to email us any of your questions, comments, or dilemmas at itt.thepodcast@gmail.com, or send us a DM on Instagram at ITT Podcast, or one word. Thank you for hanging out with us, and we'll speak to you on the next one.
Bye.